Hi, this is Ralph Wilson with Web Marketing Today. I'm here with John Marshall, who's a man of many thoughts, and you've been thinking quite a bit about conversion optimization lately. Where are you? I mean, there's been a lot of technical stuff involved with this. Where's your head lately? What are you learning?
So what I realize is in the world of online marketing, a lot of approaches have been centered around some of the procedural technical problems that we've tried to solve, search engine optimization, and these are, while they're not highly technical, there's a large amount of technology involved. There's been so much focus on that a lot of sites have kind of lost the plot in the way that they attract customers from the very first engagement with the customer through to then the conversion point. And that whole process is called, conversion optimization. So you're talking about a path. Not just a page, but a path.
Not
even necessarily a path through the site, the experience through the site. And perhaps I should also qualify that the experience for the user starts when they type in the search term.
Okay.
And that's really important to think that through. Their experience with your site, let's assume that you're doing search engine marketing. If you're doing email marketing, then of course it starts with them seeing the email, or perhaps signing up for the email would be a better example. But their experience with your business and your company and your brand starts with that search term, and then the next experience they have is with all the results they see in the search engine. Then they read the copy in the search listing that you've got, either organic or paid, and then they click into your site, and then they see that first page. And the way those things need to flow together must be very carefully thought through. And a lot of people are just focused on, or they have been, how do I get top ranking? Right, that's really what I want. I don't care about anything else, just give me top ranking. And we know it kind of drives us bananas when that's really what people think they want, but they don't. What they really want is for customers to convert, for them to get paying customers. And that process, I don't think enough attention is paid to that process. I started to get into it because through my experience in web analytics, I could kind of see so much of where the data was leading me, and the data was always indicating to me that the site is just not optimally converting people. So I've actually started to teach this subject, and I spend a lot of time coaching companies together with Brian Eisenberg. He and I do it jointly, coaching companies and providing material and content that teaches how to do a better job.
Now, have you had experience with some horror stories on what this shouldn't look like, or have you seen some ideal ones? Help us understand what this process might be like or shouldn't be like. Or something.
So actually, I very recently had an experience. I was shopping for something, and I think it's a good example. It's a good representation.
What were you shopping for?
A macro lens for a camera.
Okay.
So I recently got into digital photography and never really had time to do it before. Started to get into it. Bought a used camera from a friend of mine, had some lenses with it, but I decided I wanted a macro lens. So I type into the search engine, Canon macro lens. It's a very interesting example of a search term because it is both specific and vague. It's a specific term because I've used 3 words. I haven't just typed in lens, right? I want a Canon macro lens. It's specific, but it's also vague because I'm new to photography. I don't really know what I want. And the sites that come up when you try that take very different approaches. One site gives you like 200 different lenses and expects you to sort out the fact of which ones are macro and which ones are not. Very frustrating. I typed in the word macro. Don't give me a whole bunch of lenses, right? Give me just the macro lenses. And another site had a moderate selection of lenses. I mean, you can try this out. But in the end, I bought the lens from Amazon, not because it was necessarily the cheapest price, but because the Amazon site gave me the educational material that I needed to choose the lens, given this both specific and yet vague term, which I had typed in. So I chose the lens from Amazon. Interesting side point was that one of the sites that comes up sells a very unusual type of lens, and it was most definitely not what I was looking for. And if you do a search on Canon macro lens, you'll see the site is called Lens Babies. And the branding and the experience when you go into the site is so quirky and interesting that the name just stuck with me. And it absolutely is not what I wanted to get. But what they offer is very clever. What they offer is a product which they think would appeal to somebody that is buying a macro lens. And it kind of is a macro lens and it kind of isn't. It's another type of lens. I remembered that brand, and when I'd finished on Amazon placing my order for a Canon macro lens, I just thought, why not? I'm going to go back to Lens Babies and I'm going to buy one of those lenses. It was $150, so not a fortune.
Yeah.
But it's a reasonable investment.
Now, I'm a small business person. This kind of understanding of seeing the conversion process starting in the search engine is vital. So what I might do then is, what kind of analytics would I look at to see which pages people are coming in on?
Well,
and with what keywords?
Yeah, actually, there's a very simple test that you can do, which is what I call the problem of the fat head. And if you attend any of these conferences or read, you read the term the long tail. And I think, let's assume everybody knows what that means now. The problem is that for many sites, they buy broad match search terms. They buy a single word, like they might buy the word lens. Let's continue with that example. They buy the word lens. And on the face of it, that seems like a good choice, because the marketer can put all their pay-per-click dollars into that one term, and it's really simple to manage, and it's easy, right? It's just, life goes on.
But
clicks. But the problem is that broad match term on lens is bringing in with it a huge number of other much more specific terms, like macro lens and you're all on, I don't know, Canon mount lens and all that kind of stuff.
So the take-home lesson is,
don't get a fat head.
Don't get a word that can be ambiguous, and you want something that's more specific that you're bidding on optimizing for.
That's right. Choose more precise terms.
So if I were to look at my analytics and see what pages people are coming in on, and what keywords are bringing them in, then I could design those pages to match people coming in on those words.
That's right. And what you don't want to have is one keyword that utterly dominates the number of clicks. So the way I solve it is I look at the keywords. At this point, I don't even worry about what pages they're coming in on. I look at the keywords and I look at how many clicks I'm getting on each keyword, and I'm interested in a more even distribution. Don't get like 99% of your clicks on one term and 1% spread across everything else.
Why not?
Because if you're using broad match, you'll end up with too many of these more precise terms. They're getting lumped into that one. And you should be spreading things out so that you've got exact match on a wider range of terms. A lot of people don't do it because it's more difficult to manage that, and I realize that, but it's worth it, because otherwise you don't optimize that experience for the customer based on the search term they type in.
Well, John, it's fascinating talking with you. Tell us a little bit about your business.
Market Motive. The website is marketmotive.com, and it's a subscription service, and we actually teach all of these principles through streaming media. Sign up.
This is Ralph Wilson with Web Marketing Today.